Шкода, що є в них сьогодні нікому історія. Нічого. Я думаю, що це все старт якоїсь цієї підтримки. Ну добре, тоді після цього договоримо, якби що далі. Так, ну що тоді. Доброго дня. Сьогодні ми...
Good morning. Today we are going to talk about the problem, so to say, of what they call the special regime, let's say, structures of the special funding. This is the national parks have to be controlled and monitored the Ministry of Nature, but there are some of the national parks, or they are being built or not built, because their destiny let's say, depends upon some of the authorities, and very often they become the property of the power that be. When Mr. Yushchenko was president, he passed a very unexpected decision. Nobody expected that he will declare 3 presidential residences national parks in Sinigorye, Belozersk. And up till this day, those hunting residences, everyone means that within 6 months, they have to set up administration for the national park. Administration must be put to order, but anyway, they still do not operate those parks. Many years after a long time of struggling, they set up or established the national park of Severodonetsk National Park. And that national park was the only one in the history of Ukraine which was liquidated by the judicial ruling. Maybe this national park was in the way of the district administration, and they actually liquidated this national park. In fact, it disappeared, but the reason behind that was that those were the hunting grounds of Yefremov, where Yanukovych or where Yefremov today, those national parks do not exist. But there is one national park which was established. We are talking about the Sukhalucha, Dniprovsky Tetris National Park. So. As a biologist, not only I'm an activist of the NGO environment rights and man, I've been working in this biology for many years. But this national park, when Yanukovych was president, not that under his presidency. He did not create that park. It was really, it has a long story, and there was a book, the limits of the national preserves of Ukraine, the Dniprovsky Tetris, the hunting grounds had to become the national park with the national preserve. Almost all the structures of facilities projects which were planned have become the national parks, save for Sukhalucha, Dniprovsky Tetris economy. What about what's the interesting facts behind that? This is the area which is kind of wholesome. This is a huge forested area, 30,000 hectares, bordering on the river. Basin of the river Teteriv, surrounded by the beautiful nature nooks in forests, and maybe someone said that those are not the oldest forests in Ukraine, but if you're talking about untouched, unfallen, let's say, a forest area, you won't find such another place in Kyiv. You don't have to renovate anything there. You have just to preserve what there is now. Just try to find something like that, 30,000 hectares area. You won't succeed in that. and actually they preserved it, they supported that. And actually it was dry meadow, Sukhaluchi translated this dry meadow area. And there are some hindrances perhaps, or barriers, which even today do not allow anyone to set up or to establish the national park. So we are going to talk about the national park, which has never been created before. Why? So maybe I'll turn the mic to Anastasia. So maybe each of us should introduce themselves. Good morning, Anastasia Drapaluk. I'm the senior expert of the natural preserved territories of the Ministry of Nature of Ukraine. I directly deal with the creation of new natural preservation areas in Ukraine. A few words what the ministry has done in order to set up and to establish such a national park. The official work started back in 2008 with the creation of this national park. In those days, on the initiative of the regional administration, the ministry prepared the draft presidential decree, and that decree was signed in 2008, which made provision for the need to create Dniprovsky National Park. Since those days, in 2009-10, the ministry actively worked on this park. They created, they agreed upon everything to create this natural park. The regional administration and the local governments, authorities, the Ministry of Ecology and Nature in those days, they could not actually take the agreement of the Dniprovsky hunting area, which are the owner of this territory. Unfortunately, they failed to agree upon that, and by the presidential decree, they failed to create such a national park. Then in 2011-2014, there was nobody did anything. There was none of the initiatives, either public or scientific, to create such a national park. After the Revolution of Dignity in 2014, the MPs, in those, some of them are present here, and the public at large, they started to write letters to the Minister of Nature to once again try to create such a national park in order to preserve nature, to ensure necessary conditions for the recreation of the local population, the visitors of that park, also to carry out research in this territory and different other functions. The Ministry of Nature started to do something about that. In this time, they took a more deep-going approach. The researchers and scholars prepared the necessary scientific justification, and again, they considered this kind of the motion, and this motion was this request was approved, and they sent it again submitted to the respective administration to take necessary decisions. Then the key regional administration gathered all the approvals in the local level, including the Dniprovsky forest and hunting area, to prepare the draft presidential decree. Accordingly, the regional administration provided the necessary package of documents to the local administration, which could become the basis for the presidential decree. Ministry of Nature prepared the draft presidential decree, approved that with the Minister of Finance, Minister of Economy, Minister of Justice, Regional Administration, National Academy of Science, all the bodies which are required, to be approved, in order to be created. All this was based on different meetings, discussions, and the disputes with the the broad public. And then the Minister of Nature submitted this package of document for the consideration by the cabinet of ministers. This happened a couple of years ago, but this actually was returned back, this package of document, to the Ministry of Nature, and they did not approve them during one of the meetings of the cabinet of ministers of Ukraine. Maybe now we'll give the mic to Viktor. My name is Viktor Klid. I'm advisor of the minister. Actually, my duties include the formation of the policy of the ministry. And I would like to know that the issue of creating the Dniprovsky National Park is one of the top priority issues, among other tasks, set before the minister by Minister Semirok. All those great and huge efforts of the MPs and the public activists, we try within the shortest possible period of time and with utmost efficiency to resolve this issue, to resolve this problem. Outstanding issue. Of course, there are some issues pertaining to some technical aspects. Actually, now we are involved in the discussion with Minister of Agrarian Policy about the boundaries of this area per se, and we are involved in the productive dialogue. There are different points of view, but the matter is that in the former, we have to turn the former hunting area into the national park. Our position with the Ministry of Ecology is like that. The area must be a bit more than 30,000 hectares. 3,000 hectares, and we have to establish national park, and in order to preserve the let's say the integrity of the ecological system of this park. And another point, which is also very important, the whole package of documents, which was prepared and required a lot of the extensive and let's say extensive and dedicated work, expert findings, which actually were related to this specific area. That's why now we try to discuss, to carry out necessary discussions on this issue with the support of the MPs. We'll try to do that within the shortest possible period of time. And we hope that the presidential decree on creating the national park on the area of Dniprovsky-Tversky area will be signed. Well, first of all, this is not an ecological topic. Unfortunately, the secretary of the respective committee couldn't make it here because he's on the business trip. But within the next 1 or 2 weeks, we are going to have the round table on basis of the committee on the national ecological policy. Maybe we should also involve the MPs of the ecological committee, because this topic will entail a lot of different questions to be answered. We have one more participant who was involved from the very beginning of this specific effort, Ihor Lutsenko MP. First of all, I would like to say that Sukholuchi today is not only a unique natural, let's say, area, but historical, let's say, monument, because this kind of historical, natural monument to feudalism in the time of the presidency of Yanukovych. I actually participated in many different radical actions associated with that area. Having acquainted myself with this project, all of us, we had an understanding that, well, that hardly under such conditions like the managerial and control system, it would be impossible for us to start and try to do that from the scratch, you know. That's impossible. Yanukovych actually in his time provided us with a chance, and Ukrainian nature provided with a chance to establish such a unique project, which according to its natural properties is unique not only in the Kiev region but maybe on the whole territory of Ukraine. Unfortunately, Sukholuchi, unfortunately Medjugorje and other areas today suffer from the same disease. The lack of the definition of their legal status and a lack of the managerial attention on the part of the state. So the revolution took place, and they de facto, not de jure, they took it back from Yanukovych, and the status remained the same. There is no host, no owner of this area. Nobody would like to shoulder the responsibility for this huge heritage, let's say, of the former regime. And we are talking about the human inability to do something. I'm talking about the MPs of today. Of course, we would like to boost our efforts and successes in all the spheres, not only in the investigation of some of the actions of Yanukovych during the Maidan revolution, but also if we are talking about the real estate or ecological projects, ecological areas, then there are a lot of questions to be addressed to the law enforcement bodies and to the governmental authorities and bodies, and they actually try to say that they have nothing to do with Ecology and it has nothing to do with the presidential administration, because not the Verkhovna Rada Ukraine nor any other authority can actually do anything but the president himself or the cabinet of ministers. And that's why we actually try to address them with our political request. Or, I would like to add also, since this topic is a kind of a scandal topic, high profile, and became really high profile because the cabinet refused to approve and submit the draft presidential decree for the president to sign it. We are going to discuss that very actively now. And first of all the concerned journalists, please follow attentively what is going to happen with this specific topic. Do not miss the meeting, special meeting dedicated to that issue in the Verkhovna Rada, and some of the other public organizations, NGOs, and those who are activists who are going to be actively involved in this issue of the national park creation. Some of MPs, some politicians are being involved today, but a lot of different subjects, those people who are both hands for the creation of such national park, you can see them on this platform today here. But they are going to entertain this issue and consider that in the Verkhovna Rada. So please, once again, do not miss the occasion to follow attentively the discussion of that in the parliament. Should you have any questions, please shoot now. If there are no questions, this brings us to the end of our briefing. Thank you.